Okay. Oh, I'm already getting a notification from something.
Mm.
Okay. We should be streaming
Okay.
live now.
All
Everything
right.
sounds okay. I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you too. Yay.
Okay. I'm just gonna pull up my Twitch and make sure and double check because everything is. Yep, I can hear myself talking through Twitch. Okay.
All right,
So
good.
uh, we're live. Thank you, anybody who's gonna come hang out, get a chance to check out this conversation. I'm Mike from Crit One and Done. This is our ninth session of Talking Crit. Nicole, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey, I'm Nicole, also known as Game Master Mom. I'm just excited to sit and chat with you guys for a little bit today. I'm sure we'll talk more about me and my projects and stuff later, so I won't bore you with any of that quite yet.
Yeah, so and I mean, we were just talking before we'd started about how, and I feel like I mention this every time I do one of these, but one of the coolest parts about the whole D&D and TTRPG space is just the community and all the different people that you run into, and
Mm.
everybody has their own spin on how they do things. Even if you hone it into like just people that play D&D, it seems like nobody plays D&D the same way.
No.
ev- Everybody's got their own kick on it, whether they're a home table like we are and we just stream our home table, or if they're a virtual table, or if they're running one shots, if they're running stuff in Faerun, or it's homebrew, or it's 5e, or it's 2024 or 2014 rules, and it's
Yeah.
just everything is different. And that was one of the cool things that I had noticed on Orts of Elmont. Shut up, Chris. One of the one of the cool things that I had seen you do, um, I think I had seen a video of you and I'm gonna be mad if I mess this, but I think it's kids table
Yeah, the kids'
D&D.
table. Yes.
So those you and them were some of the first videos that I saw of like how they tailor the game for kids,
Hmm.
and kind of like I was like I have little kids in our group. Basically, other than that, we all have little kids. So I had never really thought about it before that point, especially with us being 30 something year olds who hang out, and sometimes we have a drink while we play, and we
Right.
curse, and some of the sessions are violent and a little vulgar, and
Yeah,
I
it's
was like,
not necessarily kid friendly, and that's
right,
okay. It's an adult's game. Yeah.
right. But I was like, I mean, like my little guys love the minis. Like
Hmm.
they don't know what they are. They always ask, for the Dungeons and Dragon minis, and they break them in half the time, and we let them mess with
Yeah.
the paints and mess around. But I don't know. That was really cool the first time seeing the different videos that you've posted of like how you kind of change up the rules just to make it work better.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if I know you've done a ton of videos on these, but if you had to pick like other than obviously like one game can be R rated versus like a PG rated, like as far as rule changes, what do you think is the most important difference for playing a game, with other adults and like setting up a game
Yeah.
for kids?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like honestly, the biggest thing is just like making it simpler and less intimidating. So, like, for example, if you play like regular D&D, 5e, whatever, and you're a magic wielder, you get this like list of spells to choose from that's like a mile long, right?
Yeah.
I am not going to give that to a 5-year-old. That's ridiculous, right? Like, that's overwhelming to, like, some of us, me
To
included.
me, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, just kind of like not taking the fun out of it, but taking the rules and the options and just really paring them down to the bare minimum to still have enough structure to play a game without it being quite so like, oh, you need to study the player's handbook and you have all these different things to be thinking about all the time
Right.
because that's just too much.
No. Yeah, no. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah,
For Chris's campaign, the first one that we did, I played a spellcaster for the first time, and it
yeah.
was because
That's a tough first character.
and especially it was a high level. Like we started at level 10 and we ended at level 20. So
Oh,
like when we were at
dang.
level
So you had
20,
all the options.
I had
Yeah.
like 3 pages of spells, and Chris wanted us
That's
to use
nuts.
components and the verbal and somatic parts of it, and I mean, it was very cool. I'm glad we did it for sure because we got to see
Yeah,
the other side of it. But I was like, damn, this is a lot.
for sure, for sure. And I feel like, I mean, I think this is true in every game, but I think more so with kids just because of the way their attention spans work. The pacing has to be like so on point. Like, I mean, adults, I feel like the pacing gets slow, somebody's taking a long time with their turn or whatever.
Yeah.
Adults will just kind of like pull out their phone and start scrolling or like have a little side conversation or something. Kids, like, if their attention is lost for that long, like they're off, they're like playing on the swing set in the
Out. Yeah.
backyard, like they're gone, you lost them. So that like keeping the pace kind of like quick and engaging, I feel like is one of the other big changes.
Yeah. No, I that makes sense 100%. I could absolutely see that. Like if I was trying to like set up a game with my little guys, like
Uh-huh.
if like you said, the second like you lose them, it's not even that they're not paying attention, it's that they're not in their chair.
Nope,
They're
they're gone.
they're
They
up
are physically
and
gone.
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about it that way. I kind of like so just from a lot of the videos I've seen of you, is like changing the rules and taking out
Mhm.
initiative and kind of simplifying it, but
Yeah.
also like just the pace in general, like keeping things moving, keeping them engaged, and as far as like there's probably no like big lore drops and stuff like that.
No, you know, depends on the crowd for sure, but especially when I'm playing with my kids and their friends, which is like, the campaign I run the most often is the kids that live in my house and our
Yeah.
close friends. But I very rarely as the game master will talk for more than like 30 seconds in a row because they just start to like do like
Yeah.
they don't
Right.
want to hear the big elaborate lore drop. They're just like, okay, give me the basics and then let me start doing something again. I want to do
Yeah.
something.
They want to right. They want to know what they're doing.
Hmm.
No,
The kids
and
are so fun. They're so imaginative. I feel like they're so much more creative just naturally than we are. And so the things they make up to want to do or try to do are just like you just never know what they're going to come up with, which is so fun.
that's yeah, that's for me. That's like that's my favorite part. Like I tried to really not to like jam that down the players' throats, but like when I was setting up this campaign, I told them like I I'm like obviously we're playing D&D, we're gonna be playing by D&D rules, but I was like,
Yeah.
if you want to do something that's not in the rules, just throw it out there,
Yeah.
and like we can talk about it. If it kind of makes sense, I'll give you a chance to do it. Like even if
Mhm.
it completely goes against the rules. Like I had the example that I gave them at the start was like say you're like fighting on a hill or whatever, and say your movement speed is 30, and there's an enemy that's 60 feet away, and you say, well, I'm gonna slide down the hill and go attack them because I'm sliding. I want to double my movement speed. I was like, okay, that can maybe make sense. Like,
Yeah,
go
that's
ahead,
fair.
like anything like that. Like if you have, if for whatever reason you want to do two attacks this turn, even though your character's only level two,
Yeah.
tell me why. If it kind of makes sense and would be cool, like I'll let you do it. So
Right.
we've
Reward that creativity.
I've been trying to, and it's led to some fun stuff, but like our our group has been for the most part has been pretty good. Like my favorite moment still is like the first campaign we ever did. I DM'd, and if Austin's watching, he's probably rolling his eyes because he knows what I'm gonna say because I always reference this. But the guys were doing like they were in like a gladiatorial arena, and Austin was playing this big barbarian, and he had like killed a guy with a mace, and he not 20'd on it, and I was like smashed him, and his teeth go flying and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
like without skipping a beat, he was like, okay, I want to catch the tooth. I was like, okay. I was like, roll athletics.
Yeah.
And he rolled like a 17 or something. I was like, okay, you catch the tooth. He's like, okay, I eat the tooth. Like,
Oh
what?
my god.
He was like, I eat the tooth. And I was like, okay, roll Constitution to eat the
Blech.
tooth. And it was the same thing. He rolled like an 18 or a 19. And I was like, you eat the tooth. It goes down. You don't rip your trachea. Like, you eat the tooth.
Oh.
And he was, and his character was known as Crixus the Tooth Eater for
There you
like the
go.
rest of the campaign.
Tooth eater.
Or
That's
Crixus,
amazing.
Eater of Teeth. He'll correct me if I say it wrong. But like to
I
me
mean,
that
that's
was
amazing though. Like, what a
that
cool little piece of like, I don't know. That's the flavor that makes it fun, right?
yes, for sure. That was and like that'll stick with me forever. Like if I know it will because it was just then it was like a split second like oh his teeth go flying you smash him with the mace I catch the tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But like that kind of improv and crazy like stuff that as a DM running the session that you wouldn't think of or like
Mm-mm.
when I said like oh you smash when his teeth go I was just thinking like in a movie like some and whatever.
Right, right.
I did not think like okay well there's the teeth well, I wonder if he'll grab one of them and eat them like did
You
not.
can't. I mean, you can't predict that kind of thing, but that's so fun.
Yeah no
I but
100%.
I won't tell the whole story, but the short version of the story that I tell probably too often is that I at one point let my players get an animal companion of their choosing. That was my fault. I shouldn't have set them up for that way. I just thought this will be fun. We can have animal companions. Sure, you can choose whatever animal you want. My daughter chose an elephant of all things. So now it's like a constant conversation in this campaign of when they go places, whether or not her elephant can fit into the space with her.
Yeah that's awesome.
It's like, I mean, never in my mind did I think, okay, she's gonna pick a huge animal. I thought, like, okay, biggest possible, maybe a unicorn, a horse type thing. Okay, we can make that work. No, elephant.
Yeah, I mean that's funny even just like to think of a character walking around at a campaign with just an elephant either
Just with
riding
an
on it
elephant.
or
Yeah,
trailing around.
that's her companion. Everybody
No.
else has very respectable ones. Someone has a chicken, which I think is really cute. There's a dog, there's a cat, there's a badger, then there's an elephant.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is I mean that's at least for me like I'm not a big rules guy like and I've never really been a huge TTRPG or like before we even got into all this anyway it was just never something that I super got into. So to me
Yeah.
it's like that kind the big selling point for D&D is like no you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, what do you mean? It's like, no, you do whatever you want. Whatever you want your
Yeah.
character to do, you can try to do it. There's no, I mean, there's obviously there's rules and there's boundaries of how things work, but there's no track of like, okay, well, like even if you're playing a video game, like there's only so many buttons on the controller,
Right.
or if you're playing on it, like there's only so many keys on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
There's none of that. It's if you,
It's unlimited. I mean, at the game master's discretion, it can be
right,
unlimited. Yeah,
right. So
which is
I'm
really
kind of,
fun.
yeah. No, that's and yeah, that's definitely my favorite part too. And I'm waiting for the part with the campaign I'm running now where the guys take advantage of that and it starts going off the rails. We haven't gotten there yet. Um,
Oh, it will. It will.
yeah. Okay, so one of the things that I like had set up to ask you, so all of this, the Game Master Mom stuff, the book, the board game that you're doing, did the interest in D&D, did that stem from just looking for games to play with your kids, or did that start with you playing tabletop games first, or you playing D&D first?
Yeah, it mostly came from me playing first. So basically what happened was some of my nerd friends got me into playing D&D around the same time that I was pregnant with my youngest kid, my son. And so I started playing in a campaign with them, and my kids saw us playing. They would like sneak out of their rooms and like watch us play at night and stuff like that. So they they got interested in it, and so I that kind of just made me think like, okay, well, what how can I start to introduce them to stuff like this? So the first thing I did was really seek out a book because we're a big reading family. We read several books a day. It's like part of our routine throughout the day includes books. So I don't know, it's just what we do. And so I started looking for like Dungeons and Dragons type books, fantasy type books, role playing game type books, and there just weren't a whole lot of options out there for young kids. There's a few that like Wizards of the Coast puts out. There's like ABCs of D&D, and like those are really cute. but it just seemed like something that didn't really exist in the form that I was looking for. So I was like,
Right.
well, I'll write one. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where the book came from. That kind of turned into a spiral, and now that's actually a book series. There's only one out right now, but there's a few more that are in the works at the moment, that'll be coming out. And then really the game, I never I never intended to be any kind of game designer. I still am not sure that I'm actually like qualified to do such a thing. But basically I just ended up playing something like D&D with my kids and their friends, and like I said, really watered it down to their level.
Right.
And I started sharing that on Instagram through the Game Master Mom account, and just like a lot of different parents and teachers started reaching out to me being like, what do you do? What do you change? What does the system look like?
Right.
And as I kept playing and kept kind of writing down and really paying attention to like what do I change that's different, I was like, I need to just make my own game system. I need to just put it out there. Apparently, people are interested in it. So I need to just like actually write it down, put it into some kind of package, and get it to people. So we'll see. It's going out to playtesters next week. So we're going to find out if it's garbage or not.
No, that's awesome. That's so cool. As far as the book writing part, have you written stuff before, or was this just something that this was your first time doing it, or
I've written stuff before, I've never published anything before. But I've been writing stories for a really long time, and I think that's part of why it kind of has exploded into like a whole thing, because once I figured out like, oh, I can do this process and get a published book out there, I was like, well, that means I can do another one and another one
right?
and another one. So it's like once you do one and know the system, it's the path is paved for you.
How so? Because I was an English lit major too, and like I've done my own writing on the side. I've never thought about publishing anything, but I don't know how that process works. So like, how was it navigating through that your first time doing it?
You know, it's one it's one of those things where in some ways, I think I really leaned on other people who had done it before and asking them how they did it. And then it was really just like trial and error. Um, Self publishing is, I would say, easier than it's ever been. You can self publish for not a lot of money and really not a whole lot of like effort or skills needed to get your book from a thing you wrote to a thing
So,
people can purchase in a physical form or an ebook form. Um, so then it just kind of comes down to like what kind of quality book do you want, right? Like, do you want something that is just kind of like a print on demand quality where like it's fine, but it's nothing like deluxe, it's not hardcover, it's not
right.
like super durable. Um, Unfortunately, I did because it's a book for kids, and kids are crazy and throw their books around the house.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing a lot of research into like people who print really sturdy, high quality books, just because I know kids
Yeah.
are going to be throwing it.
Yeah. No. 100%.
My kids are at least. Maybe other kids are not feral, but mine are.
No, mine are for definitely not feral also.
Yeah.
But that's so cool that you were able to kind of navigate that through that yourself without, and I mean it's really just yours. So one of the other things that I wanted to ask you about that was how you kind of got partnered with the Drawing Bard
Yeah.
to get it illustrated.
Oh my gosh, he's so amazing. He's such a good artist. So he illustrated my book, and he we met on Instagram, actually. He was doing some character art for a friend of mine, Morgan, who runs Heroes of Evermore. And he did this really beautiful character art that Morgan was showing off on his Instagram. And I was like, "Ooh, I really like that style." And reached out to him. And yeah, the drawing bard, his name is Daniel. That's his actual name. He'd never illustrated a book, but he was like, "Well, I do character art for D&D all the time, and so
Right.
like if you're willing to take a chance on me." And I was like, I've never published a book before, so yeah, let's just like the blind and the blind together. Let's just do this. And I feel like we just ended up being a perfect partnership. Like very minimal amount of like back and forth editing had to happen because it's like he immediately just got my
Got what you were
vision.
thinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's
yeah,
really cool.
he's great. I really lucked out with my illustrator. It's
So
hard to
he's
find a good illustrator that gets what you're going for.
so going forward now, because you're saying it's going to be a whole series. Is Daniel still going to be illustrating like their series going forward?
Yeah, I plan to keep him involved with it as long as he will continue to
As
agree
long
to
as
be
he'll do it.
involved. I tell him all the time, I'm like, I've got more work for you. If you want more work, like I've got it for you. You let me know. I also pulled in another artist onto my team as well. So now I've got kind of like two artists that both do a similar style who
Sick.
uh, who do some of the illustrations for like my game and the books that are going to be coming out.
Nice. That's so cool. That whole process to me is just super interesting of going through and having the story, and then at least for me, whenever I would write stuff, my mindset is always go write as much as you possibly can, and then because
Mm-hmm.
I know once I start editing, I'm gonna pick everything apart and go through it later. So is
Yeah.
that, do you kind of like go piece by piece, or do you like write start to finish and then go back and edit?
A little bit of both, but I definitely write a lot more knowing that I'm going to pare it down.
Yeah,
And especially when I'm writing like for kids, because I want to always keep the the length short, right? Because again, short attention spans, right?
yeah,
Like also like as a parent, I know that
yeah,
there are some great books on our shelves that take like 20 minutes to read aloud, and I will avoid those like the plague at bedtime because
yeah,
that is too long.
yeah, 100%. And even
Like
even
mama
the
doesn't have time for that. Give me the 5 minute read. That
yeah.
would be much better. Especially if we have to read four of them tonight. Like, yeah, we're not doing a 20-minute one. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm the same way with my boy, and even when I do read for them, it's become a thing which like I'm happy for, and they think it's funny. Where we'll pick a book and I will burn through it as fast as I can read the words and spit them out, and
yep.
they think it's like hilarious, and it's like, okay, well now we're getting through this book in 30 seconds instead of
Hmm.
10 or 15 minutes, and it's like, okay, well now we can read 5 books instead of reading the one book, and you
Right.
guys getting riled up in between, and now one's in another's bed, and now they're wrestling. It's just like it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. That's real. That's really real. Yeah.
Um,
So, you know, write a lot, pare it down.
um, so going along with the Tales of Etheria, have you ever had a table at a con or an expo or anything to kind of promote it, and how is that gone?
Yeah, I started doing a lot of that. I guess like last fall, I started trying to go to some of the cons that are close to me. I'm in like the Central Texas area, so there's a lot
Oh,
of
cool.
conventions down here. Some smaller ones and some larger ones, but yeah, it, it's really great. I like that a lot. It's very different than the social media or like trying to sell things online because then you get to actually have a conversation with people. People can actually like hold the book and flip
Right.
through it, which makes a huge difference. So I love going to cons. I love meeting people. I love running games at cons. It's such a fun way to like really be a part of that community and make I mean, I love Instagram and YouTube and all that. I love the people I meet through there, but there's still something different about being like face to face with somebody.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely get that for sure. We have a very love-hate relationship with social media. I
Yeah.
mean, between the three of us, we barely had an Instagram between us before this all started.
Yeah.
But just it's and that's been a learning curve too, and navigating all that, and how to do reels, and like the right way to do it, and
Mhm.
hashtags, and all this shit that I never cared about ever. Now, like I have to worry about it, but and at least for us, it's, I mean, and you have to, obviously, it's your thing. You're doing it all by yourself. We
Yeah.
have at least a little bit of a like division of power where like I'll do most of the social media stuff, but like if I'm just like, dude, I can't do this today, like Chris will take it over. Chris paints all of our minis, which
Oh,
is
that's
it's
amazing.
it's just such a huge thing for us because we're our whole, I don't want to say our shtick, but like our whole thing is that like we're just a home table and like we do
Hmm.
really like terrain and minis, and we kind of set the board and play off of the board instead of saying like, well, the room is this way and then trying to configure it. We throw all the shit on the table, and if there's a big rock there and you want to go hide behind, okay, well, it's on the table. That's where the rock is, and we just kind of
Oh,
work
I
around
love
it,
that.
which is, and we all kind of love playing that way, and we basically play on
Hmm.
a beer pong table, so we're kind of all right on top of it, and we're
Yeah.
constantly, and I mean that's an argument that we sometimes have too, because we don't set up just for combat, we set up a lot of times for everything, like
Hmm.
party goes into a tavern, okay, throw all the tavern shit on the table, set up the tavern, like
Oh,
okay, we're
so
going
good.
walking down the street, okay, get the tavern off, throw the street, where for like Austin likes just, okay, we don't need to take 5 minutes and setting up like a tavern to walk into or a room or, but and Matt is kind of indifferent, and me and Chris are both like, no, we want to see what's happening.
Yeah, I tend to be like that too. I really like to have a lot of like physical elements at the table. It's it's I don't mind being a player in a virtual game, but I think it's just a really different vibe. I've been asked several times to run virtual games, um, specifically for kids, and I'm like, I don't know if I can. I'm
Yeah,
sure someone can, but I don't think that's me because I'm very tactile. I really like to have the little pieces and the little terrain and actually see where it all moves around in space.
yeah, I mean I can definitely see how kids would be way more inclined to be into that too, and like I don't know,
Yeah.
I can't picture putting my even my 6 year old like in front of a screen for 4 hours and have him try to follow, there's no chance. But if
Yeah,
it's,
it's
no,
just hard. It's hard. I mean, I feel like it's hard for adults. I think it's hard for me. So, for the kids, I think it just, I don't know. I like uh, they like the props. They like to have like the wands and the capes and the minis and the snacks and all the stuff. And
yeah,
that's how I like to run it too. So,
yeah.
I think it's just going to be in person games at least for now.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's, I mean, that's really how we've been too. Like even when we've been play testing, like the one shot I was saying that we're going to do at a convention, like
Yeah.
the people who are going to test, they have to come to Chris's house. Like we all hang out in
Hmm.
the basement, and like I said, we'll have a drink and we'll have chips and food and whatever, and we'll hang out for 3, 4 hours, and we'll run through our one shot, and hopefully it
Yeah.
doesn't suck. And but like as long as everybody's hanging out and like having fun, and there's a good environment and kind of vibe in the room, like that's really what we're looking for more than anything else. It's, we're not going to be as, no, we're not voice actors, we're not actors, none of us have theater backgrounds, or
No.
just that we just like fantasy stuff, and it's fun, and our whole thinking was like, if we could share it with some people and they think it's cool, awesome. If we share it and
Yeah.
people think it sucks, like we're still
Fine.
gonna do it
Yeah,
anyway.
you're still having
Like,
fun. So, okay.
right. So it's, I mean,
I
I
think that's the
definitely,
right attitude to have about it too. Like you're not doing it for other people. You're doing it for yourselves to have fun and the fact that you're streaming it for other people creates this layer of accountability of like, oh, well, we're actually expected to like show up and do the thing, so we should
right.
do it. And I think that's good. And if other people get enjoyment out of it, like great, that's a
Yeah,
great bonus.
that's all word. Yeah, but that's one of the things you just said actually has been my favorite part of us streaming, is that it like holds us to a schedule where
Hmm.
it's like before we started streaming, that would drive me nuts. Is like we do
Yeah.
like, because we've always tried to be like every other week, and we'd get like 3 sessions in a row, and like we'd be involved, and then it'd be like, oh well, I can, and then it's like 5 weeks
Hmm.
go by in between sessions, and then we get back, and it's like the first hour of the next session is like, where are we? Like,
Yeah.
what were we doing? Like, what does my character have on him?
Yeah, you lose
And
the momentum. It's
a
hard to
hundred
like get
percent,
back immersed into it when you have that big of a break.
yeah. And yeah, I think I think that's 100% right. Is you break the immersion of it
Yeah,
because you're not thinking anymore like, oh, like what would my character do? How would they react?
yeah,
It's like, where are we? Like, why are we here?
yeah.
What are we
What
doing
happened
again?
last time? Yeah.
Right,
Who's that over there? Like, yeah,
right.
yeah.
No, 100%. That's
I mean, it's hard. I mean, they're always I always hear people saying like, the real big bad is scheduling, but
is the
that's so true.
scheduling.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean, y'all know you've all got families, you got kids, you got jobs. Like
yeah,
it's hard sometimes to like stay consistent on a schedule when you've got 3 or 4 or 5 people that all have to show up at the same time.
right. And I think that is something that's helped us is that we are a very tight knit group. We've all known each other for a long time. I mean, Chris is literally right. Right. I could pick up a rock and hit his house with it right now.
Hmm.
And there's only four of us. We're not a big party. Like when we play, it's the DM and there's three party members and that's it.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
great.
was I am gonna do that, Chris. Um, it can't be any worse than the past year, asshole. Um, now I lost. I forgot what I was gonna say now. Oh, with us being a small party, that was something that we had talked about in the beginning. It's like,
Mm,
well, technically like a basic whatever standard party is four people. We're like, well, should we go try to find somebody, and then we'd have a regular full table, and
nah.
if that was we kind of quickly came to that conclusion, like we could, but then we just we didn't feel like we had to. Like we're so comfortable with each other. Matt is literally my little brother. I've known Austin forever. Chris
Mm.
is literally my next door neighbor. We have such a good rapport. Like we mess around. We rip on each other. Like it makes it so much easier for the characters to interact too.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's
that's like the dream scenario, really. Like, that's amazing. You all live close proximity to each other. You all get along. The vibe is good. Everybody's there for a good time. Like, that's perfect.
yeah. Chris, and like I said, Chris lives next door. Austin lives in the same town, and my brother Matt lives like 4 or 5 miles away in the house that I grew up in.
That's amazing. That's
It's
amazing.
it's been really cool, and this has spiraled into something that not that we're really anything. We're just a bunch of guys that like to play D&D, but
That is something that counts.
even even to this point,
Well, and
um,
good news, when y'all start your kids campaign, your kids all live close to each other too. So
yeah,
it's
that's very
perfect.
true. So when you started, I guess when you started working on on your book on Tales of Etheria, was that the intention for it to be like a book that you were going to publish, or was it something that you just started writing as a cool story that you could like maybe read to your kids, or like was there intention behind it, or is it just something that kind of like spiraled?
Yeah, definitely there was intention to publish it. I mean, I think maybe I would have written it anyway. I mean, I guess it was kind of written in my mind, and in some ways I had like verbally told the story before. But the intent when I actually started writing it down and working with the drawing bard to illustrate it was this is something I want to publish for other parents like me to have this as a way to introduce their kids to playing tabletop role playing games because I think like indoctrinate them early, right? Like a kid's picture book, you can start reading that to like an infant, right? Like before they can even talk, you can start reading that to
Yeah.
them. Then they're getting that exposure to this is a thing. This is an option for me. So
No, that's very cool. That's good that you had it in your head that like, okay, this, so like this is what I'm working towards.
hmm the game that I'm working on now that like I said is in kind of like the play testing phase right now. That was definitely less intentional. I still have doubts sometimes about like is this a thing that I should be publishing and sharing with people? But I think it is. I think I landed on something really good that other parents and teachers and like groups that have kids that want to start playing that are brand new beginners, I think they're really going to be able to use this game and have kind of like an easier easier transition
Yeah,
into something more complicated later, like, maybe like full D&D.
right. No, that's awesome. I mean, as somebody that, like I said, I have kids that are right in that age range,
Yeah.
and I've started thinking more and more about that. Like, how can I kind of, because they're always asking questions too, like, because they know, like, if I'm like when they go to bed, like they know if I'm going somewhere, they ask like, "Oh, are you going to Dungeons and Dragons or are you going to band
Mhm.
practice?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm going to Dungeons and Dragons tonight." And
Yeah.
like they see the minis, they love throwing the dice around and just
Of course. Yeah.
so I feel like they could I might need to lean into that a little bit more and see how that
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I feel like you already really have the right perspective on it. Like the way that y'all do your adults game is like rules light, focus on the fun,
yeah,
reward the creativity, Like I feel like that's the main thing with kids too, is like you don't need to worry that much about the rules. Like just let it be a fun, creative thing. Try to make sure nobody gets like super mean to anybody else and everybody gets a turn to be in the spotlight, all those things that siblings like to bicker about.
yeah, that with my three boys, I know that would for
Uh-huh.
the characters would turn on each other almost immediately.
Right, right. And honestly, like I would say like with your kids, you might even want to start away from the table, right? Like no board, no dice, no minis or anything, but like do more of that like kind of like role playing imaginative play like in the backyard or something like, oh, you could be different kind of characters today, like do you want to be a wizard, do you want to be a bard, do you want to be a fighter, and then like have them like play out like with their bodies some kind of quest that you make up, like I feel like that might
They
even
would
be a
love
better
that.
starter for them than trying to get them to like sit at the
Sit.
table.
Yeah. I think they would love that. And it's honestly, it's just sitting at the. If it was one of them, I don't think sitting at the table because like I'm like starting to teach my 6-year-old how to play chess. Like even just
Oh
how to like
yeah.
move the pieces around. And if it's
Yeah.
just him, it's fine. He'll stay and he'll
Hmm.
play like he doesn't really know what he's doing, but he knows. Okay, the pawns go forward, the knights move like a L. Like so he
There
knows
you
how the
go.
pieces move. But the second one, another one of them sits down, it's forget. Then I have to put everything away, otherwise pieces go
Yeah.
flying. And but like we
And
went
they
to
want to
medieval,
climb on each other and
forget it. But like we went to medieval times for my 6-year-old's birthday
oh,
last month,
that's so fun.
and they had a and we brought all of them. We brought one of his little buddies, and they had a fucking blast. It was so fun. And seeing
Yeah.
all that, and it was funny because one of my 4-year-olds, he's a little more shy than the other two, but he was sitting in between me and my wife, and the like before they start all the sword fighting, they do like some of the more like pageantry kind of stuff. They have the horses that do like the horse tricks, and
Oh,
he was like,
cute.
the horses, there's a red horse, there's a green horse, there's a yellow. We're like, oh shit, like okay, he's very into the
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
horses.
that's what we're focusing on, the horses.
Yeah, and then like my 6-year-old loved the like the sword fighting and the big halberd that one of them was swinging around and the
Oh,
flails, and our other 4-year-old said he wants to be a sword fighter when he grows up now, and we'll see how long that
perfect.
lasts. But
See,
yeah,
the seed has been planted. They're
oh for
getting ready
sure.
for it.
But yeah, medieval times very fun. Not a cheap outing for 5, 6, 7 people with 5-ish-year-old kids who want every fucking thing that's
Yeah, no. No.
it was just funny because we and it was his birthday, so like we knew we were going to spend some money, and he wanted a sword, and one sword is $30, and then once he has a sword, the other two need
Oh,
swords, and
everybody needs a sword, yeah.
one of his buddy that we brought, his parents had given him money to bring two, and then he got a sword, and then they wanted helmets and armor, and I was like, no, no,
Okay,
no,
okay,
no.
we only have so
Yeah,
much.
right. Listen, we're not spending $1,000 here today. It's not happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they had got swords and they all got shields, and they were content with that, and they still have sword fights at 6 in the morning when they come down from their rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure those things are going to get worn out.
Yeah,
They'll be well worth the money by the time they wear them completely out from playing with them.
Um,
No, I
okay.
get that. That sounds like how I feel when I take my kids to the Renaissance Festival. It's like any everything they see, they're like, "Ooh, can I have that? Can I have that?" And like, it's so hard for me to say no because I'm like, "Oh, I'm just so excited that you're excited about this nerd shit in the
Right.
same kind of way that I am." So like,
Right.
I really want to say yes, but also, can we spend $1,000 here today? No, we cannot. We need to at some point have a cutoff for like,
Right.
okay, you already got a wand. Do you need a sword too? I don't think
Right.
so. You already have one weapon.
How is and you have two?
I have two, yeah.
How is that with them at the Renaissance Fair? It's manageable or not really? Because that's
It
I've been itching to bring them to that too, but like with three of them that age, I'm like, we're just gonna be chasing them all day long, and then everyone's gonna be exhausted and
it's
angry and fighting.
it's a lot of chasing. It is. I mean, it's kind of like anything else, right? It's like it's the same sort of like chasing and cat herding and fight breaking up that you do at home. It's just in a different, larger, more crowded location.
Yeah.
But it is magical and fun, and it's a lot of cool stuff to see. At least the ones by us, there's people that dress up in really elaborate costumes, complete with like masks and stuff. Like some of them are dressed as like dragonborn or like fox people, and so that's really. I mean, my kids love that. They think that's
Yeah.
so cool.
No, that's
I mean,
awesome.
it's like Halloween on steroids there, basically. But it's fun. It's fun. It's exhausting, and it's absolutely nothing like going to the Renaissance Festival with just adults. So just if you've ever had a Renaissance experience, like we went to the festival as adults, we drank some mead, we had some fun, we made some questionable purchases. Just it's not that.
Throw
Set your
that out the window.
expectation as like more like a zoo trip with children. Like that's kind of what you're doing.
So that kind of is like something else I wanted to ask too, because as we've been doing all these talking crits and everybody's from different parts of I think for talking crit everybody's been in the States, but like I told you or no, because we did a talking crit with Dungeon Mother Kier too, who's in
Oh
Malaysia.
yeah,
And but it's like last one we did with Chris did with Might Be Mimics is in Florida, and I talked to Kaylee from Reps and Respawns who's in Oklahoma, and uh, Jacob from Bard's Taverns in Kentucky,
yeah, we're all over the place.
and all over the place. And I know every spot is different. For us, we're like 45 minutes outside of Manhattan, so this, and we're in a heavily populated area, so like our area has its own tabletop convention, and
Hmm.
there's D&D everywhere. Um, which, like I said, I talked to Kaylee about a month ago, who's in Oklahoma, where she's like, "There's really not." That's
Yeah.
part of why she does everything virtually and through Instagram and and streams. And then there's Dungeon Samster, who I've done a talking crit with, and he's in
Yeah.
California, and he's in like five or six different D&D things,
Yeah,
and
he goes
he
really
goes
hard.
and runs games for people in person. And it's so where you're at in Texas, what is the scene like there?
It's a pretty good scene. I mean, I don't think it's like New York or California level. We're like, I'm kind of in a weird spot because I'm close to Austin, which, if you know anything about Austin, is it's a pretty like liberal, hippie,
Yeah,
music, art centric kind of town, like right smack in the middle of like the conservative Bible Belt. So there's a really weird mix of
yeah,
folks around here. And I feel like there's still a little bit of like the satanic panic still lives around here a little bit, where like, you know, uh, maybe you could have like a D&D club at school, but like you might get shut down by a local church or
jeez,
something. So that there's still a little bit of like weird stigma here where I'm at, but I think there's enough nerds keeping it alive too. The community is pretty good, and certainly if I was in a position where I had time to find an in-person game, I'm sure that I could without having to go very
okay,
far from my house.
cool.
And like I said, I run games in the community pretty often, usually games for like kids and beginners, but those tend to be fairly well attended too. So, I
Nice.
think it's alive and well for the most part here.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, like that's I like hearing about what it's like for different people in different parts of the country. I mean, I mean, just from us having spoken with Kira a couple of times, I know that's part of her whole thing is D&D and TTRPGs in Malaysia and
Yeah,
trying to, doing whatever she can to help grow it there and make it more popular. I mean, for us here, I mean, that's one of the things that I love about living here is that if Dungeons and Dragons or music or whatever kind of is that you would want to do, there's plenty of other people here that want to also do it.
yeah,
I mean, like I said, Team Drew's basement is he lives a couple towns over. He's 10 minutes away.
that's so cool.
Encores and ability scores. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
them also.
yeah,
So I, their Christian from Encores and ability scores is now the lead singer in my band. Just because we've gotten to know each other
that's
through
crazy.
D
Oh,
and
that's
D,
so cool.
and we were looking for a singer, and I was like, well, they're all, I know that they're like actors or voice actors and they all do theater stuff. So I messaged him one day. I was like, yo, Christian, this is Mike from Crit One and Done, and we had met them at the convention last year. I was like, hey, do you sing by any chance? He was like, yes, I definitely sing. He's like, I've been a professional like theater performer for 10 years and like toured around, and it's like, perfect, you want to be in a band?
That's incredible. That's such a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're one of the things that I love about living here is like whatever you could possibly want to get into, there's other people here that are into it
Yeah,
too.
yeah, that is nice. That is nice. I feel like it's an interesting intersection of like, like we were talking about like the social media and like meeting people through like Instagram and stuff like that versus, in person. And sometimes you meet people on the internet and then realize they live very close to you. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, we can do in person stuff now too. And
Yes.
I've had a few of those encounters where I've been like, okay, wait, whoa, you're where? Okay, we live like 30 minutes from each other. Are you kidding me? So
Yeah,
that's always cool when that happens.
for sure. I mean, and that's one of the other things that has been so fun about all the different people that we've met, whether it is in person that we met at like at the expo last year or people we've met through Instagram or whatever, is that everyone has a different spin, but everyone is like different. It's all different types of people too. Like there's no singular type of like. This maybe is a bad example, but like if you think about like an accountant, like okay, well, what type of personality would want to be an accountant? Like usually you
Yeah.
can kind of think of like okay, somebody that has patience, that can sit down and is analytical and go through. Think of like, oh well, what kind of person would like playing Dungeons and Dragons? Like there is no one type of person that you could put in
No,
that box. Like
no. I feel like it's one of those things that's so off the wall unpredictable too. Like I don't know if this happens to you, but I it, I don't well, I would say I generally don't advertise a whole lot in my like regular social circles, like my kids' friends and school and stuff like that. I'm not like, I mean, sure, I wear like nerdy fireball shirts sometimes, but I'm not going around being like, oh, I'm playing D&D tonight. Do you like
right.
D&D too? Like, it just doesn't really come up in conversation. Um, so I find it interesting how often I'm like, maybe friends with another mom from preschool or something for like 6 months. And then all of a sudden, like I wear a t-shirt or something that has something they recognize has to do with D&D. And D, and they're like, wait a second, do you play D&D? And D? And I'm like, I totally do. And they're like, I do too. I never would have thought that you did. And it's like, you just know, you can't like look at people and see
No,
whether they are.
no, not even close. Which,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just another element of it that's been so fun. I mean, like the first time I wore like a D&D shirt like on stage at a show, I had so many people come up to me afterwards, like
Yeah.
not like, "Oh, you guys sounded great." Like didn't give a shit about how the music sounded. Like, "You play D&D too?" Like, "Oh, that's a sick shirt." Like, and the whole
Right.
rest of the night was just having, and the other guys in the band, this was before Christian joined, were just like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" Like, just
Uh-huh.
don't leave me alone. Like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be a
it's
little
it's a
while.
secret club. If you see the symbols and you know what they mean, then like we talk about it. If you don't, then you just go on your merry way. Yeah.
Ugh. And like
Yeah.
even one of the other bands that we'd played with that night, they're a band, but they're also a Dungeons and Dragons group, and they used to do a podcast. And they were showing me their room. They had like this huge beholder like up on his wall, and I was like, whoa, like that's like, and our you like you've seen our like our room. Our room has gotten
Mhm.
to a pretty like we're pretty happy with how the room is
Your
right
room's
now.
amazing. Yeah, it's a
That
great space.
the beholder that they're like it was I'm trying to like it was gigantic and like mounted on his wall. I was like, holy shit. I can only imagine like walking into a room and seeing this huge fucking like bright whatever color it was, purple
Right?
or blue or
Man, I feel like I've seen a model like that, like in a game shop, like a huge one like that that a game shop had.
yeah. It
And I
was
was like, that's sick.
it was
I would
so
love to have that for a game room.
yeah. If, let me see if Chris is still in here. Yeah, if he's paying attention. Oh, Loopy's in here too. Chris's wife is actually in here.
Sweet.
I'll see if we can get away with that. But he had mentioned it to me too that like it was obscenely expensive, and I was like, yeah, dude, I believe you. That thing it's
I'm
huge.
sure. Yeah, it's huge.
But that's one of the other things. And again, it's different when you're running something by yourself. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean obviously that's important too. Like how has it worked with budgeting with again, I don't know what the costs are of publishing something or of what of like
Yeah.
what to pay an illustrator or if you whatever you guys have worked out or I like
Yeah,
how is
it can get really expensive really quick. I will tell you that. So I did for my first and so far only bulk print run of my hardcover books that are like the really nice quality, like durable
can be
books
thrown around.
can be thrown around. Yeah, basically kid proof. They have like the dust jacket that like if you're a real parent, then what you do is you keep it on for as long as it survives, and then eventually, once it's not surviving anymore, you take it off, and it's like you have a brand new book,
Right.
basically. So that was a must. Anyway, I ran a Kickstarter to help offset some of the costs of the bulk print run because
Yeah.
trying to do my print run was 1,000 copies. Even if you get a good deal, 1,000 copies ends up costing a lot of money.
Yeah, I believe you.
To print and ship that many books is just it can get expensive really quick. So uh, some the Kickstarter helped a lot with some of those costs. Illustrators are all over huge spectrum
They're
of what you would
huge.
pay
Yeah.
for an illustrator. And as a children's author, like unless you can do your own illustrations, it's pretty much required to have an illustrator,
Right.
right? Like you
For
can't
sure.
write a children's book that doesn't have
With no
amazing pictures in
pictures.
it. You can't.
Yeah.
So like that's a must-have expense for sure.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, did you have some kind like an I mean, I guess it'll change once, especially if you're navigating something you've never done before, you don't know, but did you have a budget in mind when you started? Did you go over that budget? Did you kind of stay tight to it?
Yeah, I had a budget in mind. I think I pretty much stayed on it. I had kind of in mind like, okay, this is how much of like my own money I'm willing to invest up front to
Right.
get this book into production in a quality that I like, with the hope that eventually I will make that money back once I sell all my inventory, which
Right.
I think will happen. But that kind of stuff takes time and marketing and really
Right.
just getting out there so that people know the book exists because I think
Right.
there's a ton of people who would really like the book but they don't know it exists. So
Right.
I have to somehow get it in front of the people who would want it,
Right.
which is always the challenge.
God, I can hear my kids stomping around upstairs right
Oh, of
now.
course, yeah. Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
9:30 p.m. Why
Yeah.
not?
When they usually go to bed around 7.
Oh, well, it's the weekend.
Yeah. No, but that's, I mean, and I think that's something that we've kind of touched on with everybody too. Like any hobby you could get into is going to be expensive. But at
Yeah,
this point, you're getting out of it being a hobby now. It's you like you're producing something real, which
yeah,
is so fucking cool. I remember when we went to the con, the Long Island one the first time, and we had told people like, oh, like we're going to the LI tabletop. They're like, oh, you guys gonna have a table? And we were like, we don't really produce anything.
Yeah, like what would we
So-
even have there? Yeah.
right, like we
Just
don't
ourselves? Hi.
sell, we don't
Yeah.
make, there's no money to, like, if we get $50 every once in a while from Twitch to split between the four of us, like,
Right.
that's about it. But that's, I mean, that's so cool that you have something that's real, that's, that'll be your fucking thing forever, you know.
Yeah. It is really cool, and it feels good to be able to like set up a booth and actually have physical products to show people.
Yeah.
I actually I don't know why I did this, but I did actually start doing some like local, like small events at game shops and stuff where I did rent a booth before I had any physical product. And I just kind of showed up and talked to people about my ideas and
Yeah.
the Kickstarter and tried to get people on board with it. But having a product at my booth is much better. I prefer
Helps,
that
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, then you're just marketing going off of, your word and trying to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's still good to show up and have conversations, but yeah,
no,
it does get some funny looks when you're like the one booth in a line of like 10 booths that's not actually selling anything. It's just like a girl sitting there being like, "Hi, you want to talk about D&D?"
no, that's, I mean, that's still awesome. I mean, but yeah, the in person, like, being able to go up and actually have conversations with people in person, like, I'd mentioned this before we started streaming. Like, that's my kind of my day job, is part
Yeah.
is I call and I call and I call and whatever, is that's a big part of my job, and I do it and it's fine. I have so much success when I get to go to big conventions and walk up to
Hmm.
people and talk to them in person, and it's just so much easier to have a productive conversation when you're face to face with somebody. It's just different.
It
Um,
is.
I mean, and just at the Long Island convention, which is, it's not massive. It's not teeny tiny either, but it's not massive. We made so many different like I said, we that's where we met our terrain sponsor,
Hmm.
who set us up, where we're going to be running this immersive tavern crazy one shot that we're doing at it this year. And
Yeah.
he's hooked us up with so much awesome terrain that we've been able to use on our table. We ran into a card a Dungeons and Dragons esque, like, competitive card game called Hit Point for another guy on Long Island, and we told him, like, yeah, we do D
Okay.
and D, and we stream it, and he's like, oh, that's sick, like, and we started talking, and we had him come. We did a collab post with him, I mean, a while ago, but him and his partner, they came over to my house, and me and Matt played Hit Point with them,
Oh,
and
that's so
it
cool.
was so fun, and like, to get to meet other. I mean, then there's always gonna there's and different dice makers and people who make all kinds of crazy shit, but there's people that
Hmm.
make their own games that, like, work off of D&D.
Yeah.
There was another group that we ran into, called Spilled Coffee Creatives. They're from Brooklyn or Queens, or the city, but one of their games was like, they focused in on, like, the long rest part of D&D, where, like, they
Hmm.
made a little mini game out of what your player characters do during their long rest at the campsite. I
Okay,
was
that's
just like,
really
this
cool.
there's so many different fucking spins off of every aspect of everything to do with it. And
Right?
it was so fun meeting all of those people and getting to see everybody's different spins, and they, like
It
Encores and
is.
Ability Scores, who their whole thing is all of their sessions and one shots and mini campaign, they're all theater productions. Like,
Hmm.
they do Alice in Wonderland, or they did West Side Story, or all kinds. It's like, I would never
That's
think of
so
that,
cool.
but
Right.
it's,
And I feel like it's a really unique community in that we all have these different but related ideas. And I think for the most part, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I think for the most part, none of us feel any sense of competition with the others. It's not like, oh, I need to make sure like my idea is better than your idea because you're
right.
like my competitor. It's like there's enough space for all of us and all of our
Yeah,
different ideas. And I found that like most people in the space are really like happy to like hype you up and like support you
yeah,
in your ideas and you could support them, and it's like it's just a really kind of like collaborative group of people in general.
yes, for sure. That's been our
And
experience
I
too.
I don't feel like that's as true in like I may get some
And
hate for saying this, but like the author space, I don't feel like that's as true.
I believe you. I don't know as much about the, not that I know a ton about the D&D space, but I definitely know a little bit more. But
Yeah.
that's definitely what we've run into too. Everybody that we've come in contact with has been so awesome, whether they're directly another D&D page or or like Team Drew's Basement, who we had barely even started our campaign, and when we met him, he was setting up the Weather Dragon provided a table for him to
Oh,
play at the
some
convention.
beautiful
So
tables.
we like walked over and we were like, "What the fuck is this?" Like this diesel like uh, with the sconces and how it was all lit
Yeah.
up. And we got to meet Mike from the Weather Dragon also, and
Another
he
amazing guy. Yeah.
they were so fucking cool and they were so like encouraging. And even then, Drew, who only follows like 100 or so pages on Instagram, he was like, "Oh, where are you guys? I'll follow you." And blah blah. We're like, "Are you sure?"
Yay.
Like, and
Yeah.
he's been so cool with us the whole way. Everybody that we've met is. And so what you were saying about it not being competitive is definitely true,
Yeah.
but I find that we've not not that we steal, but like we see the way somebody does something and we're like, shit, that's better than what we're doing. Like, how can we
Uh-huh.
kind of take that and kind of incorporate that into what we're doing just
Right,
to
but
kind
that's
of
like encouraged, right? Like
right.
nobody's like getting mad about that. People are like, "Oh, you liked my idea? Like,
Yeah,
sure, take it. Like, incorporate it in your table. Put your spin on it. Let me know how it goes." Like, it's just a very
100%.
open, sharing kind of community that way.
Yeah. And it's just been so cool because again, it's so many different types of people, but everybody for the most part that we've run into, the attitude is the same.
Yeah.
It's all different types of people and different backgrounds and different areas, and from Oklahoma to California to New York to Texas to Kentucky to Malaysia to, I mean,
Right.
people in Canada that we've interacted with, and but the attitude is always the same. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're doing something like with Might Be Mimics, we reached out to them basically cold and asked if they want if Shane from them wanted to do Talk Creative. He's like, yeah, for sure. Like, come talk about like nerd stuff. Hell yeah. And we
Yeah.
did. And then we're done. He's like, I'm gonna what? I'll run a one shot for you guys. You guys want to run a one shot? And we were like, yes. We've never that the other night when we did it was the first time the four of us have ever been on in a party together because we're always
Oh, that's
playing
fun. Yeah,
the
one of you is usually the game master. Yeah, that's
is
so
always
fun.
DM, and me, Austin, and Chris all rotate as DMs. The four of
Right.
us have never been in a party together, so we
That's
were
so
like,
cool.
hell yes, we want to do that.
Oh,
And
that's so fun.
it's just, and I'm always trying to think of like different names that I can shout out too. And I don't know if you do you know Judah from One Shot D&D.
Mm, I don't think
If you
so.
He's been a little quiet lately. I think he just well, not I think I know he had a kid kind of recently, so he's been a little quiet
Okay,
lately.
fair enough. That's a pretty big
But
deal.
he's in Australia, and
Okay.
he did the first one shot that me and Austin had literally ever played,
Oh,
because
wow.
he had actually originally reached out to us to be like, hey, I have a podcast where I just run one shots for people. He was like, I'm looking for people to
Sweet.
review it. Would you want to review it? And we hadn't even started our campaign at that point. Like, we're nobody. We're just whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'll listen to a podcast and review it, I guess.
Heck
But it was
yeah.
it was a Warhammer D&D, like D&D one shot. So the one
Oh,
shot was based like, and I know almost nothing about Warhammer,
well,
and
there's a lot to know, so.
yeah, and what I know now is more than the nothing that I knew about it
Oh,
when I
yeah.
listened to that podcast. But it
Fair
was
enough.
so fucking cool. But it was just one person. He was running a one shot for one person, and
Oh, that's cool.
it was so fucking cool. And because it was one person, like you said, everything happens quick, and he
Mhm.
got through the whole one shot. I'm sure he chopped it down, but it was an hour. It was like a quick listen, like this cool story that had like the
Ooh,
scenic
I like
music in the
that. Okay, I'm gonna
background
have to go listen to that because that
and
sounds really
sound
good.
effects. It's so cool. And
Yeah.
we had talked to him, and Judah, he reviewed one of our sessions, like he's got a post on our page.
Oh,
But
that's
he asked me and
cool.
Austin if we wanted to do a one shot, and we were like, sure, we
Yeah.
whatever. It was so fun. That was like my first time ever doing a character with a voice, which was like
Ooh.
I've have yeah, probably a little bit. My wife's checking in all the time. Um,
She's like,
but
help
I
me
had
with
never
these
done a
kids that are bouncing off the walls.
I had never done a character with a voice before, so I was like, fuck it. Like my family's all in Long Island Italian. So I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna make a character with a super thick, like broken Italian accent.
There you go.
And it was just so fun for, the couple hours that we did it, just everything. Oh, when I meet you, this is the way that I am. We're going to see what happens. And it was just
So
like
fun.
just so over the top, like goofy and broken and stupid, but it was just so fun. And now like we're fully, except for Matt. Matt refuses to do any kind of voice or accent. He just plays himself, and that's we've accepted
That's
it.
totally fine. Yeah.
But I mean, we've done all different types of goofy shit now. Like Austin's character in the last campaign he sounded like Sean Connery, and my character sounded like Batman with the deep like the Batman voice. And
Yeah. It's so great. I mean, I feel like that's another one of the great things about playing D&D though is like it gives you the space to just like be goofy and be whimsical and like we need more of that in life. We all need a little bit more of that.
yeah, I think that's a big point that pretty much everyone that we've talked to has agreed with. Like, if you can sit down at a table for 4 hours and hang out and just like detach from reality
Mhm.
for a little while, and like that's
That's
at the
so
end,
valuable.
that's the end goal.
Yeah.
Like we're not, like I said, we're not trying to do anything crazy. Like we're just trying to detach and hang out and have fun with our friends. And if we can share that with people and they tune in and they think it's cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Eh, if they don't, maybe at some point they will, but that's just gonna that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I am I like advertise this some, but I don't talk about it a whole lot. But my day job is that I'm a therapist. I do like mental health counseling for people during the day, but I don't mix the two yet, the D&D and the therapy, but there's like all this research that's been coming out in the last 5 years about like actual scientific peer-reviewed evidence-based research about how good being a part of a D&D group is for mental health and like it's helping people work through anxiety and helping people feel less lonely and like helping people get that escape, right? And that whimsy and that lightness that we all really need because we live very stressful lives in
Yeah,
kind of dark times right now.
yeah, I could definitely see that being the I
Right?
like
It's like it makes sense, but it's cool that
yeah
there's like actual research coming out
research.
to support it. It's like, yes, okay, this is what we've been noticing the whole time. We just didn't have like the actual like science to prove like this is good for people. This is really good for people to have
Yeah,
this, you know, silly, goofy, nerdy hobby.
I was gonna say I'm sure there's proof all over Instagram of people just uh, repeating basically what you just said, that
Yeah.
it's just helping to be connected to other people without having any kind of like big pressure on it or anything, where it's just you're all there for the same thing, that like to hang out and have a good time. And that's it
Yeah.
shouldn't have to be anything more than that.
No, no, it's just a good, good excuse to come together and be silly and have fun.
So one of the things that I like asking, because I know I tend to lean away from how most people answered this, but and so as far as D&D goes, and I didn't even really realize this was a thing until we'd started getting into it, because I just D&D is D&D, D&D is D&D, and like the setting and everything kind of works. But do you, and I probably I can guess how you would answer, but do you prefer like high fantasy kind of settings or like more grounded kind of settings?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I really like both. I feel like my campaigns are a little more grounded, but they have some high fantasy elements.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
it's a little interweaving of both, but it definitely is never too serious.
Gotcha.
I like to keep things a little more light at my tables. I nothing against it, but I don't do any of the like grim dark fantasy kind of vibes. Like mine's pretty light and upbeat for the most part.
Nice. Yeah, it was funny. I asked at Mars from Weeping Wick. She actually makes candles. Um,
Okay.
I asked her that question, and she was like, "High fantasy, 100%. Like, get me as detached from reality as possible. That's
Mm,
why I want to play D&D, to just kind of escape for a little while." And it's
yeah.
like I 100% get that, and
Yeah.
but for me, it's like I love that there's like consequences to actions. Like I want shit to be grounded and like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be real, but I want it tied to reality so that it's like to me like if there's real stakes and you're invested in something like it just makes it that much more like fun and intense and I
Yeah.
don't know. I put that up on as a poll a while ago. I actually had a lot of people answer it and it was like I think it was like basically it was like 8 to 2 was like high fantasy and
Oh,
two was
wow. Okay.
like 80-20 like high fantasy and like no I want my shit grounded in reality and real.
Yeah.
Like I've
Huh.
mentioned to the guys that after once it comes back around again to like my turn to DM, which might be 2 years from now, or 3 whatever. But I told them like I want to run a zombie apocalypse campaign. Like it'll still be in our regular
Ooh.
D&D rules, but I'm like there's no wizards, there's no spellcasters. It's you guys are gonna start in an abandoned building and we're gonna see what happens.
That would be
Like,
fun.
and it's like to me, I was like, I want someone to run that for me. Like, I want to be the survivor in the
Right?
abandoned building and like see if I can make it out. And but Austin's already given me pushback because he's not that Austin's a rules lawyer, but Austin likes navigating all the different types because there's a million fucking rules in D&D, and
Right.
it's where to me it's like it's I don't even want to think about that. The way Austin kind of looks at it is like, okay, well, there's all these different rules. They have to be there for something. I want to find
Yeah.
out what this rule does or what this rule does, and I'm like, no, fuck all that shit. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna drop you in a building and we're gonna play it out and see what happens.
Yeah.
But I already am getting pushback from him on that. It's like, well, no, there's all these spell casting and there's all this shit. Like, you can't just cut 50% of the game, and throw it out the window. I'm like, yes,
Right.
I can.
So are y'all running strictly homebrew or do y'all incorporate modules ever?
The campaigns have all been, I guess you would say they're homebrew, but up until the campaign we're running now is the whole world is homebrew. I even like made up some homebrew rules. We
Oh,
have
that's
like
awesome.
a homebrew like leveling up system and
Okay,
like
cool.
the whole thing is like off off the top and from scratch. But
Yeah.
everything like my first campaign was in Faerun, was in Simbar, and like they went to Mount Tholbane and fought dragons. And
Okay. Okay.
Chris's campaign took place in Baldur's Gate, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And Austin's the next campaign we're going to not to give anything crazy away, but Austin the next campaign we do is going to be set in Neverwinter. So we're gonna be back in
Ooh.
Faerun. But
Okay.
the stories are all we haven't run any modules or any like pre-written stuff yet. Like
Yeah, it's
Chris's
all stuff that you're coming up with on your
right.
own and you're just using some of the like canon locations
y-
and
That's
lore and
exact.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, 100% canon is the is the right word.
That's
We're
cool. That's
to
really
like
cool.
kind of fill in the blanks. Like Chris's campaign was like a heist in the Counting House of Baldur's Gate. I incorporated a bunch of gods of Agma and Hoar and Bashaba, and they were all fighting, and it was a whole like almost like a Greek tragedy kind of drama with the with the gods kind of deal. And I don't know what Austin has cooked up, but or
That's
for, like
cool.
Austin. So that's right. Austin's last campaign was in 10 towns, and we
Okay.
ended up bumping into Behemoth and Tiamat.
Oh,
And
fun. Always
of
good.
yeah, and of course Matt went and bought a giant ass Tiamat mini, and Chris painted the whole fucking thing head to toe, all the different
Oh,
colors and shit. It was so cool. The
okay.
final
I'm
battle
gonna
we
go
had,
search that out. I need to see it.
the final battle we did that was. I mean, it took us a good probably 10 minutes just to get the table set, 10, 15 minutes with all the minis and
Yeah.
shit everywhere. But it was
Mm,
it was very fun. Oh,
that's so cool.
yeah, we've had a lot of fun moments. I'm so the one last thing I'll ask you, and then I'll let you get going. We'll kind of wrap it up.
Sure.
Obviously, the name of your page is Game Master Mom. I know
Yes.
your main thing is you're a game master and a dungeon master. Um, how often do you get to be a player character, and do you have a favorite player character that was like your favorite character to play?
Yeah. I get to be a player character, I would say on average, maybe like 2 or 3 times a year. Although not a whole lot of sample size there, because I really only started playing D&D 4 years ago. Maybe not even four, like a little bit less than 4 years ago. So uh the I'm not in any active campaigns right now, but I end up picking up a lot of like one shots and stuff that I have the pleasure of being a player in, which is always fun, to not
Nice.
be the one that's running the game and actually just get to
Yeah.
play.
Sit back and take it in.
Yeah, I have a character. I mean, it's actually my first character, so I'm sure that's why I'm so attached to her. But her name is Farah, and she's a gnome druid. And I always end up like, if I can't think of a new character build that I want to do, I just throw her into everything because I love her and I love playing a druid character because like the connection with like animals and nature and stuff, I think is just a really cool way to be a magic wielder, is to use that kind of like
Yeah.
nature side of it.
Very cool. All right, I mean, that's awesome. I've enjoyed this whole conversation again. It's
Yeah, this has been really
another
fun.
take on it and again, everybody's gonna be different. So every part of this was to me was was interesting. I appreciate you taking the time out to sit down.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, this
Absolutely.
was our ninth episode of Talking Crit. This will be up on our Twitch for 2 weeks or whatever it normally is. We'll have it up on our YouTube. Please make sure you check out Game Master Mom on Instagram. Nicole, if you want to plug anything else, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Game Master Mom on Instagram, that's the easiest way to actually get in contact with me. I do read my messages and respond to them there. I'm also Game Master Mom on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. So if those are your preferred socials, I will get around to you eventually. I do check them, just not as often. Also, check out the Storycrafters podcast, which comes out twice a month. It's not live, it's just a pre recorded show that we release on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the places that podcasts live. But yeah, Storycrafters is 4 DMs. One of them is me, and then I have three other wonderful co hosts, and we talk uh, D&D stuff. And it's a really good time. So if you're looking for a new podcast, you can check that one out too.
Awesome. I'll take a clip out of this podcast and we'll post it at some point within the next week or two, and we'll make sure we tag you and we'll get everything in there. But
Awesome.
it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. Bye,
All right.
guys.
Have a good night, Nicole.